week. ZTGD Radio. This is episode 803 for July 15th, 2024. On the show this week, we got Anthony.
Yep.
We got the Wombat.
Yes, sir.
Oh, man. It's been a summer. It's hot as balls here today.
It's been hot as balls for several days.
It's like,
and it's going to continue being hot as balls.
It's going to be hot today, but also like there's going to be some thunderstorms, which is just going to be miserable. I'm not looking forward to that. Ugh. This is why I say summer is the worst time of year. Everybody's like, oh, I can't wait for summer. Man, fuck you. I don't like you.
I also enjoy summer, but I prefer spring and fall.
Yes, those are the goated seasons.
I prefer spring because fall when when all the leaves get wet and stuff, which is generally what happens up here, it's gross.
Yeah, it might be gross, but it smells better.
I much prefer like May and October to July and August.
Oh, yeah. I gotta find a good day where it's not gonna be too hot, and it's not gonna be too thunderstorm, because we gotta make that yearly pilgrimage up to the theme park before kid goes back to school.
We stopped going to we used to get season passes every year, and then we stopped because my son doesn't like roller coasters, so.
Oh, that's no fun.
Kind of makes it. Yeah, it kind of makes it a waste of time, which is crazy. So it's the clearest sign ever that liking roller coasters isn't genetic, because his mother and I both love roller coasters, and he does not like them at all. So
I guess so. It's funny because the same over here. We both love them, and he loves them. So
nice.
Never can tell.
Never can tell.
Oh well. Anyway, video games. Let's talk about those. Anthony, you want to go first?
Finish 999.
Yeah, I saw the conversation in the Discord.
I'm assuming you spoiled yourself.
Dude, I could have looked at that and it would have meant nothing to me. I never touched those games.
You make it sound like it's some sort of delicacy. Oh, you've spoiled yourself.
Well, I knew he didn't play it.
No, treat yourself.
I didn't know if he was reading them or not.
No, I saw them spoiled, and I was in my brain. I'm like, who in here that would want to play this hasn't played it? That it needs to be spoiler tagged.
I'm gonna say okay. So I have criticisms about the version of 999 I played. I have history with this game. I originally had. Oh, I think this is one of the few games that had like a. Give me a second here. I'm just looking it up. I want to say it actually was a game that got 2 releases on DS. Yeah, I had the second printing because this game was hard to find. This game was hard to find at one point, and everybody was saying you need to play it, and I was like, okay, cool. So I ended up getting a copy of like the second printing, which is the black cover with Zero's face on it, and I hated it. I hated it. It was fine. It was just, it was clearly not the time for me to play it. I do love that the version I played had voice acting, which was not in the DS original. I don't believe, anyways. And so I played through it. It is so there's like 2 types of like ports, I guess is what you'd call it, because it's not like this isn't like a remaster by any sense, because while the graphics are better looking because it's not on the DS, like it's all artwork that already existed. So even if they did redraw the sprites, like they didn't remaster the puzzles. So some of them are just straight up way too easy because all you do is hit a button that says hint, and it basically solves the fact that it doesn't have a second screen. And so there was a puzzle that I was doing, and this is a spoiler. I won't. Honestly, the puzzle sucks. This is not a spoiler. The words they use is make the top match the bottom, and it was a grid of it was like a T-shaped grid, and there was 4 spots, right? So, upper left, upper right, bottom left, bottom right. And it said, make the top match the bottom. So I thought, okay, so there's these 4 buttons that I can turn on and off. And I thought, okay, so I have to make the bottom amount equal the top amount. No, originally what you would have had was 2 screens. And so what you have to do is you have to go to the newly done hint button at the top, which I wouldn't have clicked on because I didn't need a hint, right? And it just puts up a grid and it shows you what you're supposed to match. The text has not changed to say, like... And there was a couple puzzles that do that, where you literally just kind of hit the hint button and it solves, or it shows you what you kind of need to do. It's not as bad on the kind of notorious last puzzle, which I think would have had more impact definitely on a DS, but I think they did it pretty well still. And by that point, there's a lot of story that was being said, and the voice acting is really, really well done in this game. So I think I lucked out with the ending. But yeah, there's just a couple moments where I was like, all right, okay, this is dumb. Great ending. One of the endings, because it's there's multiple endings in this game, was so campy, and I was just like, the game did a really good job of not writing a bunch of stereotypes. Like, the characters present as stereotypes at first, and you slowly learn more about them. And I was like, okay, that's really interesting. But one of the endings, like, there's points in every Yakuza game where Kiryu or somebody gets shot and somehow is still around. Up until there's a point in this game, it's pretty realistic, but then suddenly somebody takes like 6 shots and is still somehow able to walk. And I'm just like, okay, man. Yeah, because the anger is pulling you through. Get the fuck out of here. Like, that is I'm sorry, like, it did really well, and there was just one bad ending. And I've been told that this is, like, the next game, Virtue's Last Reward, is much better. Answers a bunch of stuff from this game, which I'm glad I don't have to wait the 7 or 9 years it was to get actually get fucking Virtue's Last Reward. And then I've heard the last game, Zero Time Dilemma, is batshit, but also explains a bunch of stuff. So I gotta say, like, yeah, this game was really well made overall. I really enjoyed my time with it. It is a visual novel, so it's not for Ken.
I was gonna say, I'm shocked that it's taken you this long to play it, because like this was like the flagship series.
Well, it wasn't though. So that's the thing. I played a bit of it and said, I don't really like this. And so, yeah, it just didn't click with me originally. And that happens.
Sure.
I think at that time, though, I was still, like, Ace Attorney was sort of my first visual novel. And Ace Attorney doesn't have a lot of time where you are not interacting. 999 has a lot of time where you're not interacting. You are along for the story. And, you do have your moments where you pick and choose paths and stuff. And then there's the puzzle rooms, which multiple times I was like, oh, do not make me do... There's certain things that, like, happen in anything that's sort of like a point and click adventure sort of game, where they'll have you do certain puzzles that are like its own thing. It's not combined item with another item. And, a lot of people don't like slide puzzles. I can't say I love digital slide puzzles either. I like the physical ones, but fucking digital ones kind of suck. Didn't have any of those. I thought, okay, well, they're gonna have a fluid mixing one where that's always one where it's like mix the colors or figure out how to get a certain amount of liquid into this tube, so then you can mix. And I hate those puzzles. Well, none of those. Um, yeah, no, like overall, like it just, yeah, I think I'm also very anti-hype train for the most part. Like I mean, this is probably not a surprise the way I talk negatively about popular things, but I just 999 was getting a lot of talk when it was still just a DS game, and I did not see what everybody else was seeing. And now, obviously, finishing the game, it's like, yeah, a lot of that is sort of backloaded and stuff. But I've also been told that the DS game didn't have a timeline, so to play different story paths, you had to go through the whole game again, and you couldn't skip dialogue.
Ah, yes. The life
Yeah,
before
that would have
quality
been
of life changes.
That would have been fucking annoying. I did, and you know what? The sad part is, I bought these games for Vita, and I just never got around to them. But you know, at the time I bought those for Vita, it's funny because we were talking about Amazon beforehand. I was like buying almost everything that came out. Like anything that interested me, I was buying it. That's how you get into credit card debt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I think that part is part of it too. Is that like when I went to play this on Vita, I was probably keys jingling somewhere else. Like, ooh, what's that? Like,
That's video games.
but that's video. Yeah, and I mean it's so much worse now too. But
Oh,
like
it's awful now. It's just ugh.
So yeah, that's it. Like that's all honestly where I've been spending my time because I was interested in the story, which there's so much more to talk about there. But I won't spoil it because obviously
There's
if
somebody
I
out
didn't
there.
play them until now, like maybe you didn't play them till now, and I do recommend it. But um, I will say that like I wish just a little bit more love and care was put into the fixing of puzzles that were clearly designed for dual screen. There's ways to do that too. That's the other problem. Is like there's ways to do that a little bit better. Like we've seen. Well, look at the Mega Man collection, right? ZX and ZX Advent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Um, they're DS games, and they managed to make it work still somehow.
It
And
just
it's
depends
not
on how much time you want to take to put into the port, really.
well. That's the thing that I'm confused about. Like, clearly, this game doesn't look like the DS game. Like they've either kept the original materials that they used before they like had to crush it down into the DS, or they remastered it all. Either way, that's still some work. Some work to a lot of work, right? But
Mm.
then they had voice actors do this too. And I'm like, that's impressive. But like I just like that's great and I love it. But then the puzzles don't get as much some of the puzzles don't get as much love, and it's just a little odd because you'll be playing like a puzzle, you'll be playing one of the escape room portions, and the rest of the puzzle in the escape room feels good, and then you do something menial that's so easy because originally it was expecting two screens and they haven't sort of fixed that. Like,
Well,
it was a little odd. It was just a little odd that way. Like they did enough to add the hint button, but they didn't add enough to just do a different graphic design so I could see two screens at once on the, like, um, I don't know. I don't know. Um, it's kind of weird to complain about a game that's old, but yeah, I've been after playing Paranormasight, I've been looking for something else that kind of scratches the itch of. I don't even want to say science fiction but mystery. I guess I want my mind blown is basically what I'm trying to say. And that's, you're not going to get that with every video game. Obviously, that's not expected. I'm not expecting Super Mario to like make me think of metaphysics and stuff like that.
How awesome would that be when you get to the end and he's just like, "What a twist!"
I mean, my mind was kind of blown by Super Mario Odyssey, but that was more of like, hey, I can get up there, and then I get up there, I'm like, I bet Nintendo didn't think of this, and then there's just coins sitting up there waiting for me. I'm like, God damn.
Nintendo thinks of everything.
I know. So, yeah, that's it. I mean, I could talk more about it, but it'd be all spoiler talk, so.
Yeah, I didn't click it. Like, everybody's talking about those games, but man, I get so bored with visual novels.
Okay, so just a little more information to sell this one, more because to some people maybe they don't know about 999. It's Saw.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
It's Saw without the, and this was my issue with the Saw series. Saw 1 and 2 are very good, and then the rest can kind of just fuck off. For me, I don't care because it was a movie series that quickly realized that the violence and gore was enough to sell the movie and not the thought.
I mean, they make good on it.
Not nowhere near as good as the first two.
The first movie is so good that it's like...
Well, the first movie's a masterpiece. Honestly, I'd argue that the first movie, even though you can trace back escape room stuff to old point-and-click adventures, I'd argue Saw is the reason why escape rooms, like the real-life ones, even exist. Because everything in that movie is thought out. I'm not going to spoil Saw either. The second movie did the same thing, but obviously upped the ante by having more people. Fascinating. But I think it was the fourth movie, and I will spoil this one to some extent. So spoilers for a decade-old movie at this point?
These movies are very old.
Yeah. That is the one where they're going through the different rooms, one after another.
Oh, that starts with the chains at the beginning?
Is it chains? I know one room, is it like an incinerator or something like that too, or something like that?
If it's the one of the
puzzle,
it's the one that the spoiler is that they could have all made it to the end.
Yes.
Yeah.
So my issue, and that was where I stopped with Saw, because not to get on a high horse, but the first Saw movies, at least the first two, again, 3 I don't remember very much. I think 3 and 4 were directly connected, right?
Yeah, they were basically happening at the same time.
Yeah. So the first Saw movie is very much, and by in turn the second movie, is that violence and blood blood does not have to be shed, is the best way I can say it. Right? But by the fourth movie, the final puzzle, people had to stick their arm in a grinder or some shit like that to fill up with blood. And it was just one of those, well, now this is not the same circumstances. And it went into this, like, it's all about gore now. It's just about
but it kind of
how people can die.
Not to spoil too much. But it kind of does tie into it because it's not Kramer.
I know who it is, but to me it's like that's a you lost me because that's not why I came to these.
Yeah, they kind of go back to him later.
I know, but by that point it was too late. The Nonary games, 999 and this like don't lean, well, 999 specifically does not lean into the violence, even though, like, and this is not a spoiler, this happens in like the first section of the game, a man explodes and paints a hallway. Right? but they do very well to not show any of that, and the puzzles don't require any of that either. There's rules to the game that you aren't supposed to break, but like very interesting overall to not have the threat of violence, but not have the direct, like, stick your hand in the blender. And like that's the difference between this. But like, if you like the Saw movies and you kind of like the fact that, like, if you kind of wish the Saw games were actually good, this is kind of it. I think one of the Saw games is okay. Like, it's the Saw 2 game that's somehow even worse.
Yeah, the first one is.
It's a fine game.
There's nothing wrong with it.
It's a 6 out of 10 at the best.
100%. Yeah, it's one of those 6 out of 10s. Funny story. Those are published by Konami. Which is crazy.
Yeah, it's almost like they don't know how to do survival horror anymore.
Yeah, well, I mean, that was 360, so come on.
You say that like there's a difference between 360 and now. It's only gotten worse. Man.
Back then, at least Konami was trying.
Hey, random team that has like no no resume. Why don't you remake 2 of our beloved Silent Hill games?
I think it's funny. Like, I always think of the Family Guy quote where Chris goes to the movies and there's a movie starring Kevin Costner and he walks out and he's like, "How does this guy keep getting work?" I think about that every time someone says Bloober's making a game.
Well, Kevin Costner funds a lot of his own shit.
Yeah, but this was years ago, like when they were still casting him and everything. Yeah.
Well, I mean, but like, wasn't his big movies like all like backed by him too at that point?
I don't know.
Waterworld and shit. I think he had like production credit on a lot of shit, and then he disappeared rightfully for a long time.
And then he was Clark Kent's dad.
Those movies are so bad.
I know,
but they're fine movies, but like in terms of superhero movies, they're just not great. Anyways, that's it.
All right. Well, the Wombat left and came back while you were going through that, so.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't blame him.
I had a really stupid system issue. And by system issue, what I mean is that I reached for something and accidentally pressed the power button on my dock and reset my whole fucking system because I'm super smart and very technically capable.
Wait a minute. Do you do the podcast from the Steam Deck?
No.
Oh, okay. I was like, well, hold on.
I have a dock for my laptop.
Okay, I got you.
So I reached for the Steam Deck because it sits next to my laptop dock, and in reaching for it, the bottom of my hand pressed the reset button on my dock.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah. So, fun times. Little peek behind the curtain there for everybody. After 803 episodes, I don't know how to work a fucking laptop. So I have though played a lot of stuff this week, believe it or not, which is rare for me. I played some Helldivers, of course. They have not added the new faction yet. I keep waiting for that because it's got to be coming soon.
I was gonna say they've been quiet, haven't they?
Yeah, well, they went on. They basically gave all their. So they went on a flurry of fixing a whole bunch of outstanding bugs. They dropped a war bond, and then they gave their developers a vacation. So they're like on a 6-week break or something like that. So once they come back, is when I imagine we'll get another flurry of new content and stuff. So they have already said that they're slowing the roll on the war bonds because they had, in their estimation and in my estimation too, they had been a little, they had kind of done quantity over quality a little bit with the last couple of war bonds, and so now they're going to slow it down and put better content in them. So we'll see. I expect here within the next couple weeks we'll start getting some more movement. I mean, but the game is still the game. It's still a blast. I've never had any trouble still finding people to play with. There's always, anytime I do quick play, I'm always in a match within seconds. So yeah, the game is still, even though it's lost a ton of players, just like all of them do, it's still healthy for sure. Um, I finished Dragon's Dogma 2. God damn, that game is amazing. Um, it took me 67 hours. It's very hard to talk about why I think it's so awesome without spoiling anything. So, um, I'm just gonna say that there's a really cool the way they do the ending is very, very cool.
Well, it's good because
This
the first one did that.
Yes, it did. And so this one, there's technically three different endings. Um, it is possible, I believe, to get all three of them on the same playthrough because of the way they handle it. Um, and so there's a good ending, a bad ending, and a true ending. Um, one thing I will say that's not a spoiler because they've talked about it publicly, but um, there's a what do they call it? It's like almost like a reputation system or an affection system whereby NPCs in the game, including your main pawn, you can build up reputation with them. Um, and that does play into sort of how the game ends, or the end game, I'll say. I wish they were a little more visible about how that was building up across different NPCs. You don't really get to see it, except for the fact that, like when you talk to an NPC, if they like you, they'll blush. Um, but you don't get a sense of who your sort of top ones are, until they tell you in the credits. Once you finish the true ending, they tell you who your top three sort of NPCs are in terms of affection. But um, it's a it's really cool, and I would recommend if you get to the end of the game, um, before you do New Game Plus, just make sure you've gotten or you've seen at least the good and the true ending. Um, it's hard for me to get into too much detail without spoiling anything, but it's really cool the way they do it, and the
Does
true
the
ending.
true ending have Spando Ballet play?
It does not. It
Oh
does
well.
not,
How would I
unfortunately,
know
even
it's
though
the
you
true ending? God damn it!
know this much is true. The uh, so but it adds the true ending. I'll say adds probably another 2 or 3 hours of gameplay, um, ish, depending on what you do and how you do it. So yeah, it's really cool the way they do it, and I greatly enjoyed that game. Like I said, 67 hours I think I put into it. It will be near the top of my game of the year list this year. So, um, excellent game. Um, I played a lot of MLB's Show because I do that all the time. I played some more Dragon Quest VIII. Just sort of slowly making my way through that game on my phone when I have time. Um, let's see what I played Sifu. So I hadn't played that game when it came out. But my son really wanted to get into it, so he started playing it, and he convinced me to play it as well. And yeah, that game's a lot of fun. It is hard,
Mm-hmm.
but it's a lot of fun, and I dig the sort of every time you die you age. mechanic. I think it's kind of neat, and you can replay the levels, and basically you'll start the level at whatever the earliest age was when you started it. So the game is really about replaying those levels to try to get through them with as low a age as possible. So yeah, it's fun game. I played a decent amount of that. I am not good at it, but it's fun, and it looks super cool. Like the fighting looks cool, and there's some really neat things that you can do in it. So um, enjoyed some of my time with that. And then I played some Traveler's Rest on the deck. That game is a lot of fun. We've talked about it a lot on the podcast, and I know Terrence has talked about it too. He's a lot farther in it than I am, but it's kind of the perfect game to play if I've got an hour or so and got some downtime. So I play that a decent amount when I'm on my lunch break at work. That tends to be one of the games that's in the rotation. Um, and then speaking of the deck, I decided that I was gonna to go on the adventure of trying to get World of Warcraft up and running on the Steam Deck. And so I was in the beta for World of Warcraft, and I played the shit out of it in beta. And then when it launched, I played the shit out of it for a little while with a couple local friends here. And then I fell off of it, just completely fell off of it. Before even the first expansion came out, I had completely fallen off the game. So I haven't played the game, and this is not an exaggeration. I think it came out in 2004. Um, and I think I was probably also done with it in 2004. Um, Now I put in a considerable amount of time to it um, during that sort of however long it was, 6 months or whatever it was that I played it. Um, let's see, came out. Okay, so no, I guess it was 2005 when I was done with it because it came out in November of 2004, and I played it longer than a month or 2 months. So. Um, but either way, I haven't touched it in, I guess I'll say 19 years. Um, so to get it up and running on the Steam Deck is not, it's not hard, but it's not simple either, because BattleNet does not have a um, native launcher for Steam Deck. So, and it actually doesn't even have a native launcher for Linux, which is what the Steam Deck runs. So there's a lot of sort of rigmarole that you have to go through. You have to basically what you're doing, and I'm somebody who's a lot more technical and knows a lot more about Linux and the Steam Deck is probably going to yell at me through their podcast app, and I'm sure I'll get an angry email about it next week because I'm sure I won't explain it correctly. But basically the way you're doing it is you're installing the launcher and then installing the game into basically a shell within Steam, so that you can launch it on the Steam Deck as a non-Steam game. You can do that obviously in desktop Steam as well. You can add non-Steam games. So you're kind of doing it the same way, and you're installing it into Steam. But and then once you have it up and running, um, World of Warcraft out of the box is not built to be played on a controller. But there is a super cool mod on CurseForge called Console Mod that basically turns World of Warcraft into a console-like experience. It adds a sort of a different looking action bar at the bottom. Um, Full controller support allows you to map basically whatever functions you want in the game to different buttons on the Steam Deck or on an Xbox controller, for example. And it works really, really well. It's that console mod makes it very obvious to me that if Microsoft wanted to put this game on console, they definitely could. Um, there are some functions they'd have to figure out a way to uh, do a little bit better, because even in this console mod, there's obviously not enough buttons to map to all the functions. Um, so you got to do a little trickery every now and then if there's a very seldom used um, option that you want to add to a button. But it does have sort of an action ring that you can pull up that allows you to get to all the menus you would need to, pretty much. It works very, very well. Way better than I expected from a mod. And the game plays and looks and runs fantastic on the Steam Deck. I'm running it on graphics level 8. I think it goes up to 10. And I've had no issues at all. No slowdown, no nothing. It runs perfectly. Now, there is a little bit of lag in like Stormwind, which I mean, it is not a surprise, right? Anytime in an MMO you're in an area that has a whole lot of people, there's some lag. But in terms of system performance, I've had no issues whatsoever. The game is way different than it was 20 years ago.
Well, I
which
mean, I
I'm
would
sure
hope
the
so at
obvious.
this point, right?
Yeah. But now playing it now, I understand why they did the WoW Classic thing. When that came out, I was so disconnected from the game that I thought, well, this is just kind of silly. Are they're just giving you WoW with the old graphics instead? But no, it's almost a completely different game. In the sense that the it feels, and again, I'm reaching from 20 years back in my memory here. But the sort of onboarding is completely different. It feels way more guided, at least for the first probably 10 to 15 levels. A lot more guided, and hey, go here, do this. We're going to take you to this place. We're going to take you to this city. We're going to take you to this city. There's less sort of early exploration from what I remember from the original game. Unfortunately, WoW Classic doesn't have, at least as far as I'm aware, a free trial. The a regular one is the only one that you have a free trial for. The trial lets you play up to level 20, which is enough to whet your appetite for sure. But yeah, it's really fun, and fun enough that I've got a little bit of I'm gonna have a little bit of extra free time here coming up because of some stuff we've got going on. So I may plop down for a month worth of time and just play it for 30 days or so on the deck when I have free time every now and then. I am this may be famous last words, but I have pretty good willpower when it comes to games like this, so I'm not really worried about getting sucked back into it to the extent that it's all I'm ever going to want to play, and I'm not going to want to play anything else or do anything else. But I have been wanting because I used to play a lot of MMOs, and I've been sort of craving that experience a little bit. So it'll be, I think, a good distraction for me to have on the deck, so that I can play it when I'm just sitting around and don't have access to my console.
Yeah, I see Anthony's image in the chat, and I'm just like, yeah, you're playing Russian roulette with a Blizzard game. I speak from experience on that.
Yeah, no, but I've been there before, you know what I mean? And I don't know. I'm not uh at number one, I only play one game at a time anyway. So it's not like it's going to keep me from playing a whole bunch of other stuff.
You say that now.
Like I've got.
You only play one game forever.
Yeah, famous last words.
Yeah. But yeah, no, we'll see. We'll see what happens with it. But I don't feel like it's going to be enough to sort of suck me in. Because I'll tell you, I'm level 15, so I'm most of the way through the free trial. And I was just sitting here thinking about how I would like to play MLB The Show. So I don't know that it's going to get its claws in me the way it had its claws in me 20 years ago. But then again, City of Heroes also had its claws in me 20 years ago, and the Warhammer MMO had its claws in me for a while, and I used to play a lot of MMOs, so maybe I've grown some willpower in the last 20 years.
It's crazy how much you like MMOs, but you still haven't tried Final Fantasy.
No, and you know what? I almost booted that up, and then I decided to do this World of Warcraft thing instead, because I have so many fond memories of the original World of Warcraft that I always, I mean, for the last, I'd say probably 10 years, I've thought I should go back and just check it out again and see what it's like now. So when I was sort of hovering over the Final Fantasy 14 icon yesterday on my Xbox, I'm like, if I'm going to do this, why don't I just try World of Warcraft? And so that's what I ended up doing. But I may try that too at some point. But
God, it's so
now,
good. It's so good.
Yeah, I mean the other thing that's sort of a free trial thing too, right?
Oh, it's
like
a much bigger free. You literally get the entire main game up to level 60 with obviously no expansions, but like the main game.
Only on Xbox, or is it the same way on PC?
It's the same way across the board, as far as I understand. Like that game
Okay.
is just free for the original, like non-expansion version.
Got it. Yeah, maybe I'll check that out too. But yeah, so that's, and then now my deck, the dock for my deck, I got to be very careful how I say that, is giving me a bunch of fucking trouble. And really, I think it's the Steam Deck, not the dock. There is a recurring issue where sometimes the graphics driver gets a little crossed up and doesn't want to output to an external monitor. And so that's the issue that I've been trying to solve this morning. But yeah.
I'm sorry you're having issues with your deck.
Thanks. My dock or my deck, one of the two.
They got cream for that.
Perhaps. Yeah. I think that's it. Yeah, I bought. I did in the so I was judicious in the Steam sale, and only bought. Well, I bought. Oh, that's right. I've got something else to talk about too. I forgot. So, I bought in the Steam sale. The Divinity. Can't remember what they call the collection, but basically it's the collection that has Divinity Original Sin, and then it also has it's got two versions of Divinity Original Sin. It's got the original version, and then it's got the enhanced edition, which is the edition that was on consoles and stuff. And then Divinity Original Sin 2 is included in that as well. So I own both on the PlayStation already. But I will play them much more if I have them on Steam Deck. So I picked those up because they were super cheap. It was $15 for both games, and those are like 100-hour. I mean, the first game's probably 80 hours, and the second game's probably 150. So They're very long games. And then the other game that I picked up in that sale was Hellish Quart, and that game is not ready for prime time. If it's in early access, which I wasn't really aware of, I should have done a little bit more research. It was $11, so I'm like, it's not really that big a deal. It's so Hellish Quart, for people who don't know, is like it's like a fencing game, basically, set in, I don't know, the 1500s in Poland. And it's kind of like Bushido Blade in that you have to, like, you can end a fight in one shot. But the sword fighting is fine. It plays fine. It works well, I'll say. They've got an arcade mode that works okay. They just added the story mode. The story mode is lame as shit. I'm sure it's going to get better, but it's got like this weird third person small environment exploration side of it where you can sort of walk around in a small environment, but it's a fixed camera on a fixed point. So when your character gets super far away from the camera, you can barely see what they're doing. The dialogue is fine, I guess. It's not great. But the story mode is basically just you either walking around in a small environment or using the worst horse controls that have ever existed to control a horse, and going from one sort of fencing sword fight to another. It's kind of lame. The tutorial, one of the tutorials looks like somebody just like colored in an Excel spreadsheet and put it up there on the screen. It's like I said, I know it's just two guys, so I don't want to beat on it too much. But it was not for me worth the $11. So we'll wait and see what it's like when it's out of early access and whether or not it's any better. And then, yeah, I think that's finally it.
Love how Ryan's like, yeah, I didn't spend a lot of money during the Steam sale. Well, some of us have less self-control.
Yeah, there were a couple other things that I almost bought, but then I was like, man, you don't need to buy anything else. You got a whole bunch of other shit on Steam Deck that you have not played. Just wait.
I do that shit all the time. Like, Xbox has those sales every week, and I'm like looking through it. I was like, why am I looking through this?
Yeah, right.
Like, I don't need any other games. Not that I play any other games. It's fucking Overwatch every day, but still.
Yeah.
Anyway, is that it?
Yeah, that's it.
All right, I'll wrap this up. I played a lot of stuff, but like, it was mostly just like dipping into it. I did play Concord. I don't think that's a very good game, and it's not. What's the best way to describe this? So everybody compared it to Overwatch. It's more Apex than it is Overwatch. At least what I played of it. You do have the characters, and they all have their own unique designs in the way that they play. They all have abilities and ultimates and things like that. But like the minute-to-minute shoot, and the beta just had team deathmatch, at least when I played. So, there's no like objective or something to do other than kill dudes, grab their tags. So basically it's like, what's that Call of Duty mode where you pick up their dog tags or whatever?
Yeah, whatever. Yeah.
I don't play Call of Duty.
Yeah, similar.
Kill confirm.
Yeah, kill confirm. So it's essentially that, like when you kill somebody, they drop a card, you pick up their card, like then you get a point. You played at 30 points. My biggest issue with that game is that the shooting, like it feels fine, but the time to kill is so high. Like, you can unload a full clip into some characters and they just won't die. The map design really didn't do it for me. Like, the characters look amazing, but the maps just kind of feel bland and generic. I don't know. Like, I don't know how we talked about this when they announced the game. I don't know how you sell this game for like 50, $60 when there are better options that are free. Like, that's the really hardest part of this game, because when I was playing it I was like, man, I could get what they're giving here in another game that I don't have to pay for. And I tried, like, every time I died, I just tried a new character because I was like, I'm just gonna see what these characters do, and like maybe one or two of them resonated with me. And in the beta, I couldn't go into the training mode to test like the powers, so like I just had to use them in the game to see what they did. And sometimes I'm like, well, that made a flourish, but I don't know exactly what it did. Like, one of the things Overwatch did a really good job of was like, if you would press a button on the controller, it would tell you like, here's your abilities, here's what they do, and here's where they're kind of ideal. Like, it would pop up little tutorials of saying, hey, if you're stuck in this, then try that. This game doesn't do that at all. So like, I'm just throwing shit out randomly, and I'm like, well, I think that does this, but I can't confirm because I got shot in the head because like all of my teammates are just doing the exact same thing I am, which is just using their abilities to see what they do. As far as I can tell, you also don't have health regen, so you're picking up health packs. There are healers in the game, but I have no idea. Like, the title screen doesn't really tell you what class it is. Like, there's just a big line of characters, and then like side characters over here, which that's a weird thing. Like, here's the main stars and here are the co-stars kind of thing. It's weird. I don't know, but judging by the numbers of people playing it, I don't know how this game's going to pan out. Like, I saw somebody post this weekend that there were more people playing Gears 5 on Steam than there were playing the Concord beta, which is kind of crazy. So I don't know. I don't have any interest in it. Also, can I just say that playing on the PlayStation really irritates the piss out of me because you can't turn off the goddamn, like, half the time the game just uses that controller mic and you gotta dig into the options somewhere to turn that shit off.
I've never had that with my headset. Because you can change it in the actual settings, right?
Yeah, I've turned it all the way off. But like, I was still getting sound out of my controller from this and Rise of the Ronin and a couple other games that I played, even though I have it completely turned off.
Weird.
And it's like the game makes you set it as well, but I couldn't find it, which is annoying in and of itself. I'm like, you should make that shit very upfront. But yeah, I don't think this game's gonna cut it. I just don't see how you offer something for $50 that you can get a better version of for free. It just doesn't resonate with me. And people are like, well, I'd rather pay and get the whole game. That's and to be fair, that I enjoyed Overwatch more when I did pay and I got all the characters and I could get the skins for free and the loot boxes and stuff. I certainly enjoyed that more, but Overwatch is 8 years old and shit has changed. People don't pay $50 for the forever game anymore. They get it free and pay $500 for it over years.
Right, but even then, it's like you don't pay $50 for an online only game.
No,
like you just don't.
Right.
There's a reason why they and Call of Duty tried that. If you remember, Black Ops 4 had no campaign, and then suddenly every Call of Duty after that had a campaign again. It probably didn't sell as well. It probably sold well because it's Call of Duty, but.
Yeah, you should probably clarify, a PvP online only game.
Yeah,
Helldivers did well, and it was online only.
Yeah, but it's PvE, and that is a difference. Yes.
Yeah, there's a huge difference between PvP and PvE, and if you're doing a PvP game and it's not free, that's a mistake.
Or inexpensive, or worth the money. There's like ways to do this where it's not as bad, but yes, asking like almost full price, $50 is a lot. You're not Call of Duty. Call of Duty is the only one that gets away with that.
Yeah, I think like the more that I played this, I could probably get into it more, but the problem is I don't think this game has enough hook to keep players engaged and not going back to what they're used to before people actually get deep enough into it before it becomes like a really good experience. That's my concern. Oh, what else did I play? I finally played Neon White. That game is a lot of fun. That is essentially like here's an Unreal Tournament course, and you got to blaze through it as fast as you can while shooting things and jumping and picking up like items that give you extra boosts and attacks, and it's all about beating the time, and it feels really good, although it's one of those games that will not shut the fuck up. Like, they just talk forever before like certain missions, and I'm just like, I'm just here to shoot frogs or whatever the fuck they're in here. Like, I don't need to have the conversation beforehand. But it's really fun. I didn't think I would dig it, but it is a lot more fun than I thought it would be.
Neon White, right?
Yes, Neon White.
I think Jay talked about that when it came out.
Yeah, he may have. It's been out for a long time, but it just hit Game Pass, so I was like, I'm going to try it. So, Tachia also hit Game Pass, so you can play that now. It's a fun little Zelda-like kind of game. Wind Waker-like kind of game. Do a lot of sailing. Another game that I didn't think I would like that I really am having a fun time with is Poppy Playtime. Like, that's a neat little horror puzzle game. I'm not gonna lie.
The way the thing still moves bothers me.
I saw the thing in a room where like it's on display. It's not like moving yet.
Yeah, no, he still looks friendly in that one, I think.
Yeah, like, but I haven't seen him in the game yet. Like, it's building me up to that. But I like
the puzzles in that.
Yeah, I like the mechanics. So what it is you get like this like hand
and the arm, yeah.
Yeah, and then like at first you only get one, and then eventually you get two, and you use it to grab and drag things for puzzles, which is kind of cool. It's only $5, at least for chapter 1 or whatever. So I think I'm gonna keep playing that. It's a pretty fun little game. I played Disaster Band, which is a lot like Trumpet or Trombone Hero. But hilariously, this one you can like change the instruments, and one of the instruments is a cat. So like you're just singing some fucking classical songs with a cat noise. It's kind of hilarious. But to be fair, I played it for 10 minutes, and that's probably all I'll ever play it, so. What else did I play? I played a lot of Rock Band yesterday. I'm still loving my new controller. It actually works, which is awesome. That game's still incredible. There's still a ton of songs on the DLC store, so. Getting back into my groove, feeling pretty good. Like hard, I can kind of finish every song on now, so maybe it's time to start dipping my toes into expert. It's pretty fun. And then I play a lot of Overwatch. It finally happened. I bought a skin. I couldn't help it. It was Optimus Prime. Like, how do I not?
I knew simple.
You're weak, pathetic.
It's only been, 2 years? It's the first one I bought. Come on. It's so good, man. It's so good. The title screen's playing a rendition of the song. Like, my player card is now Optimus Prime with an Autobot logo. I love it. I actually had good games this week. Outside of that first day, that when they first dropped that new patch and everything was broken, that was miserable. But they hotfixed it pretty quick. I had good games. I do think it's kind of funny you mentioned WoW Classic earlier. I really think we're about to get an Overwatch Classic mode. Because the devs have been talking about 6v6. They're about to post a big blog on 6v6. So I got a feeling we might be getting a 6v6 Overwatch Classic mode. Which I would totally 100% be there for. 6v6 is fun chaos, man. Like, everybody bitches about it not being, like, balanced. I'm like, motherfucker, your game ain't balanced at 5v5. Like, who cares? Let's have some fun. But I think that's it. I think that's all that I played this week. I'm excited. There's a lot of games coming out this week. A lot of relatively big name games, including one like Wombat talking about World of Warcraft we haven't seen in over a decade. And that would be EA Sports College Football 25 has returned. I think the last release was in 2014. So, 11 years without a college football game. These are Xbox Series X, PlayStation 5 games, by the way. We got Darkest Dungeon 2, Avatar Frontiers of Pandora, The Skybreaker, Demon Slayer, Kimetsu no Yaiba, Sweep of the Board. Evil is on here, but that was delayed to 2025 for consoles, so I guess this just isn't updated yet. Flock, Let's School, Magical Delicacy, Clem, Nobody Wants to Die, RPM Road Punk Mayhem, Bo, Path of the Teal Lotus, Dungeons of Hinterberg, Flintlock, The Siege of Dawn is out this week. I'm excited to play that. I hope it's good.
Me too. I am interested in that one for sure.
Yeah, and it's on Game Pass, so it's like no barrier to entry there. So
no reason to not check it out.
yeah, I think I've already got it preloaded, so I'm excited to play that. Shim, Tennis Club
Shim looks great.
Shim,
I've been following. Yes. I've been following that on Instagram. You play as, I'm gonna call it a frog. It's not, but it looks like a frog, and you jump between shadows, and so like you're waiting for the bike to move so you can be in the bike's shadow so you can get somewhere else. It's almost like a platformer.
I played a game like that once that used shadows, and I'm trying to remember what it was. Like the shadows move in the background and you use them as platforms, kind of. I've played something like that before, but I don't remember what it was called.
Lost in Shadow.
That might have been it.
Where you play as the kid, and you're like, it kind of looks like Ico.
Yeah, he did kind of look like Ico. Yeah.
Yeah, that's Lost in Shadow. This is a bit different because you're. How do I put this? Here's a picture of like. It's like top down, so you're seeing it from like a. That's a terrible photo to send. I don't know why it would be so small when it's a 2000 something pixel image. God damn it!
That's a tiny image. Looks like a Diablo perspective.
There. Yeah, that isometric view, and you're jumping between shadows, and you're trying to wait for light to be cast and stuff, and it changes color depending on like where you are. Like a lot of the screens and like videos I've seen have like a beige background and stuff. It looks fantastic. I am very excited for this.
Cool. Well, that's out this week. As is Tennis Club Story, World Cruise Story, Ancient Phantasma, and Kunitsugami Path of the Goddess, also on Game Pass, so I'll be at least checking that out. I didn't play the demo, so I don't know if it was any good or not, but I'm going to check it out because it's on Game Pass. PlayStation 5, we also have Retaliate, That is the Oregon Trail Deluxe Edition and Agatha Christie: The ABC Murders, which I think came out last week on Switch and Xbox. So I guess it's just going to PlayStation this week. PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, nothing. I don't see anything that's Dragon Bobby, story of a life. It's a video game, I guess.
I guess.
Dragon Bobby.
Dragon Bobby.
Nintendo Switch. We got Robin Hood, Shogun, Samurai. Those are two words you never thought be combined. Vac Attack, Project Drift Japan Challenge, Puzzle Playground, B Project Ryusei Fantasia, Bum Simulator. There we go. Deliver Us the Moon, Hot Lap Racing, Let's School, Marble It Up Ultra.
Marble it up!
It's even got an exclamation point. Marble it up! Return to Abyss, Stories from the Outbreak, Super Aloy Ranger, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Splintered Fate. That's the mobile game, right?
I thought this is the one that you played that was bad.
Oh, is it the... Yeah, maybe you're right. I never thought I'd say this. I never thought I'd say this in my life, but there's too many Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles games right now, and I can't keep track of them all.
What did yours? What did the?
It was the new.
One did you play?
It was the new design, kind of like a beat 'em up.
Was it roguelike?
Yeah, no.
Top-down Diablo looking thing?
No, that is not what I played.
Okay, so that is what this one is.
Okay. I need to know the name of the one I played.
Roguelike quest to rescue Splinter from the Foot Clan, master ninja skills, unite in a bodacious co-op gameplay, and
bodacious, bruh!
Conquer iconic NYC locales. When Splinter, blah, blah, blah.
The one I played was Wrath of the Mutants. It was an arcade port.
Okay. With randomized power-ups, room layouts, and boss modifiers, the excitement never ends. Take control of all 4 turtles, each wielding unique powers. A team of friends... Jesus Christ, they repeat the bodacious co-op gameplay again.
This is the mobile game. This is the one that was on Apple, I think.
Okay. Man, there's too many fucking... You're right. Too many TMNT games.
That's my problem right now, because there's another one coming out later, right, that's couch co-op that's not roguelike?
Man, fuck if I know.
We'll just say there is, because we're probably right. Backroom Escape, Labyrinth Horror, Cargo Manager, Forklift Simulator, Egg Console, Selene...
Cargo Manager, Forklift Simulator.
Egg Console, Selene, PC 8801, MK2SR. Fueled Up. Hentai Paradise Volume 1. You want to Google that one? You want to Google that one?
Nope.
Which one? What is this for?
Switch.
Anthony will ruin his Google profile.
Yeah, why not? Well, fuck it. Hold on. Hold on there. I'm just going to go to the web. Hentai. I don't care anymore. Hentai, what is it?
Paradise Volume 1. This is just the first volume. We're going to set up for the Hentai Britannica.
Wow. Okay, alright. When I say it's a puzzle game, it's legitimately a jigsaw puzzle game.
With horny girls?
You're goddamn right. Dive into stunning anime art and solve puzzles, literal puzzles, by the way, to enjoy images of lovely girls posing exclusively for you and anyone else that buys it. As the difficulty level increases, hold on, let me just look at these pictures again.
I'm sure you want to look at them many times.
They're all the same fucking amount of puzzle pieces. All right. Don't know how that gets more difficult.
I mean, you don't want difficulty when you're playing with one hand.
One hand, yeah. As the difficulty level increases, the images piquant. What?
Did they misspell it?
No, am I saying it wrong? I don't understand. I've never seen this word used.
Piquant?
The images become more piquant.
Is it
Kant?
piquant? I think it's piquant.
I don't fuck it. Even then, what are they saying? Now I have to look up words. God damn it! Having pleasantly sharp taste or appetizing flavor.
All
I don't
right.
think that's the word you meant to use.
Oh, it might have been. You don't.
I don't know, man. Anyways, take your time.
Oh no, no.
Enjoy the process and collect all the puzzles. God damn it.
Yeah, you went there.
Don't worry, the features. 50 puzzles with images of lovely girls in seductive outfits. Simple and addictive gameplay mechanics. Increasing puzzle difficulty. Relaxing and atmospheric music. Just 70s porn bass. Like,
yeah.
Wow, wow. Oh my god.
All right, moving on. I want to eat umaibo.
I want to eat
UMAIBO! Exclamation point.
I recognize this character.
I mean, do you want to eat him?
No. Oh my god. Okay, so umaibo is a type of candy.
Okay.
Oh, he's okay. So it's a tie-in game for a candy company who has a character that I'm trying to. Oh my god, this is umaibo, or god damn it, I swear this is not the hentai thing again, or delicious stick.
Sure. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
It's a small cylindrical puffed corn snack from Japan.
Okay.
However, their mascot, I'm trying to find the fucking mascot because it looks like somebody. Umamon. Umaimon?
Man, you.
Where are we going? What's happening?
Oh, it is. Okay, so it's a pun of Doraemon. That's the reason why I recognized it. Okay. Hold on now, and I gotta send it so I'm not like completely crazy. I would have assumed it was by the same.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's definitely
artist.
Doraemon. That's some Doraemon-ass Doraemon shit right there.
This game looks bad, by the way. This it's a mobile game. It's a former mobile game because it's got buttons on the screen.
He looks like a Pokeball with a bow tie.
Yeah, I don't know. Like this is one of those situations where Japan's copyright laws just allowed this to happen because it's just Doraemon. Like
the girl looks very concerned about his candy.
Hold on, she's another mascot for the same company.
Okay.
The hat on her head is the corn snack thing.
That's kind of corny.
Okay, hold on now. Now we're moving.
What rabbit hole have we opened
character,
here?
Umaimon, whatever, is seen in this image, and there's 4 pictures of him. And don't get me wrong, I do love the art. And Umaimon's younger sister, Umami-chan.
Umami, bitches.
One of the guys. So the main mascot looks like a cat without ears, and then his sister is the anime girl.
It's Japan,
I hate
of
this
course.
Just fucking make more goddamn sense. Although I will say, like, this is the art that's like on the packaging for the for this like the individual wrappers.
I mean, that checks out. That checks out.
That kind of looks like the old Nintendo art too, like the old Mario Brothers art stuff. It's got the same sort of line work and everything. So yeah, okay, that was a trip. Jesus.
The next game is called Jello.
Feel like we're moving into like really bad trademark lawsuits.
Yeah. Ninja Chowdown, Glaze of Glory. Wow, that could be a double entendre.
I felt more comfortable searching hentai.
Yeah. Nintendo World Championships NES Edition's out this week. I didn't realize it was out this week. Over Horizon X Steel Empire, Photographic Memory Test, Pocket Bravery, that's another one. Rivalia, Dungeon Raiders, Saturn DX, Shogun Samurai Tycoon. Slot and learn country names in kanji. Suddenly an ogre. That sounds like a sitcom in Japan. Suddenly an ogre. The Gravity Trickster. Throw It, Dinosaur Panic. Tiny Treasure Hunt DX. Traffic Race 3D2. Train Your Brain. Spot the difference with fish photos. Which kanji? So fancy. Oh, Zombie
So
Derby
fancy.
2. I don't. A Lost Note. Airstrike Command Tactical Assault Operation. Basketball Slum Dunk 2024. Diamond Painting ASMR. Etchy Time.
Okay, hold on now. We can't move past Slum Dunk.
Basketball Slum Dunk 2024.
This is a screenshot of it.
What the fuck?
And that looks like absolute shit.
Holy
Yep.
shit,
I've seen some games
JPEG
look like shit in my
compression.
lifetime. That looks.
Don't worry,
Awful.
they've like clearly used like some AI art or something like that in their screenshots. Even though like I've seen what the game looks like, so what the fuck are you trying to do?
Oh my god, what is happening? Froggerai? Samurai Frog? Is that what that is? Froggerai?
Didn't we just get Didn't we just get a Frog Thief game?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, frogs are in right now. You gotta.
Froggerai is one of those like single screen puzzle platformers things.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, interest immediately lost.
Spy Guy Animals Jr. Stylist Girl and Tori's Panic Pack. God, Switch, you are killing it right now. You're killing it. Whew. Alright. Time for some news. Holy shit, that's tiny. Increase the size of that because I can't read that in my old man eyes. The Xbox TV app is now available for Fire TV 4K Max and Fire TV Stick 4K. So you can play Xbox on your Fire Stick now. There's a rumor coming out of The Verge, which I've seen a lot of people debunk, that Xbox will be refocusing its console business in some parts of Europe, Africa, and the Middle East, and will stop marketing the console in those regions and ship less stock to Europe. They plan to refocus on PC, cloud, and Game Pass. Okay. This was a story this week that got a lot of people upset. Xbox Game Pass prices and tiers. So, Game Pass Core is the new Game Pass plan, which is basically Xbox Live Gold. Has no day one games in it. It's $10 a month. PC Game Pass goes up to $11.99 and includes day one games. Existing users that have Xbox Game Pass for console will continue to keep that. That's $10.99 and it contains day one games. But you will not be able to buy that going forward. It's only for existing subscribers. Xbox Game Pass Standard for new users is $14.99. That contains back catalog games, but no day one games. And then Game Pass Ultimate has shot up to $19.99. Will include day one games and PC Game Pass. Starting September 12th, Microsoft will only allow users to stack Xbox Game Pass on console for up to 13 months. So if that all sounds confusing, you are correct. When you need a spreadsheet to explain your subscription service is fucked up.
True.
So, I don't know, man. I canceled one of our Game Pass subscriptions because we had two, because we have 3 Xboxes, and just like $20 a month is just kind of a tier of like, do I really need this kind of thing?
Right. Yeah.
So, but my current Game Pass is good through like August of next year, so I'll revisit again because I'm in a situation where Game Pass is a great deal, but I get a lot of shit for free, so do I really need it? When you start charging, $20+ a month, that's when I started paying attention to Netflix. Like when Netflix went over $20 a month, I was like, do I need this? And the answer was yes, because my wife uses it, but that's still when you start paying attention, like $10, sometimes $15 a month, I don't pay a lot of attention to. But when I get a charge of like $22, I'm like, what is that? Oh, do I need that? Concord Early Access Beta, which was pre-order bonus only, will now be open to all PlayStation Plus members, which is over now, I think, because it was only for the weekend. So, July 16th, the new PlayStation Plus Premium/Extra games include Remnant 2, Crisis Core, Final Fantasy VII Reunion, Pathfinder, Wrath of the Righteous, the Jackbox Party Pack 9, Mountain Blade 2 Bannerlord, No More Heroes 3, Travis Strikes Again No More Heroes, Deadcraft, and Steep. Classic and VR games include Job Simulator, Summoner, which is a banger.
God, that game sucks.
That game was so bad. Ratchet and Clank Size Matters, and Jeanne d'Arc.
Which is an excellent game.
Yeah, a lot of people are excited about Jeanne d'Arc.
Yeah, I played that on the PSP.
PSP.
Back in the day, and that game is great.
Still crazy to me that PlayStation's classic offerings are so paltry. Like,
agreed.
How are you pulling from 3 platforms and you can only deliver 3 games, one of which is fucking Summoner?
How can you buy all of Activision and yet my hands are still empty?
Oh, 100%. And
right?
how do you raise the price of Game Pass without putting some Activision Blizzard games in there, you fucking morons?
At this point, it's like it went from being like one person clearly has the better service to wow, you're actively ruining it in real time and making me decide which one of these is worse.
Yeah, they're both a shit show right now. PlayStation Plus Premium, or is it Premium, or I don't fucking know. The one without the classic games has been getting some good stuff. That's the only highlight.
That one's always been pretty decent though.
Yeah,
that's the one that had like all the Yakuza games early on and stuff. Yeah.
Well, no, the Yakuza games weren't included because they were considered classics.
Oh, were they?
Yes. They considered those classics, so you had to have the highest tier to get those.
Oh, fuck. Okay, well, I've misunderstood that then. It shows you how fucking bad they're... I gotta hate their fucking...
Oh, their tiers were awful, but Microsoft just said, hold my beer.
Hold my tier.
Yeah, hold my tier. Good one. Their new Game Pass offerings are just fucking terrible. One of the things that nobody mentioned... but I've seen a few people point out that was really interesting. Like, how do you market this now? Because you can't just say day one with Game Pass.
Right. Yeah, you have to say day one with Game Pass Ultimate.
Yes. Which is hilarious. So, like, all those games they told you were day one with Game Pass, that's not true no more.
Nope.
So if you want to play Indiana Jones this fall, you're going to have Game Pass Ultimate, motherfucker.
Or just wait till it comes to PlayStation.
Oh, snap. What was it like this? I'm sorry that my brain works in this fashion, but I saw a tweet from like one of the most like prolific Call of Duty fan sites that was like,
oh God.
They were like, now in order to play Call of Duty on Xbox, you have to pay $240 a year. I was like, motherfucker, you can just buy the game, right?
You can just buy the game. Yeah, it's also like you don't only get Call of Duty. Like, you don't sign up for Game Pass just to get Call of Duty. Like, that's not how it works.
Yeah, but at the same time, you need to have some version of online play.
No, not for Call of... Oh, well, not for Warzone because it's free, but yes, for regular Call of Duty, yes.
Yeah.
But you had to pay to play online anyway.
Yeah, she
Unless you're on
Right,
PC.
but I don't even. Do you know how to fucking get to the one that's not Game Pass fucking included?
Only because
nonsense?
it's in
Like,
front of me.
and then it's just like they did say. I go to consoles so I can just do the thing. If I wanted to get into like figuring out like nonsense to play the game, I would fucking PC games specifically.
Well, what I'm saying is like, I don't. It's kind of like changing the name of Twitter.
Anthony turned into Macho Man Randy Savage there. For a second.
Oh yeah,
I'm gonna do the thing.
Gonna do the thing with a cream rise to the top.
There was speaking of Macho Man, there was like forgetting the wrestling lingo. He was cutting a promo, and he like reached up to pull his glasses off. It didn't have it because he wasn't wearing them, and he just like does a little. He pauses for a second and then like just points in the air.
I mean,
like it was intentional, and I was like, "That's fucking great." Looks like he was just thinking for a moment and then like popped the thought into it.
I mean, he was the king of the promo for sure.
Oh yeah, I mean that's where everybody gets their Macho Man impression from essentially. So I've watched his promos, just never seen the one without glasses on.
Also, the king of paranoid, abusive jealousy.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, most of those guys were shitty people, for sure. Oh, some worse than others.
Brother.
I mean,
speaking of worse than others.
Yeah.
That's everything. Are there terrible people in this hobby? Yes, 100%. There's terrible people involved in everything.
Mm-hmm. Basketball is coming as a free update to Nintendo Switch Sports on July 9th, so it's already out. So you can go shoot some hoops if you got that game.
It's neat that they're still supporting that game.
Nintendo uploaded a mysterious teaser with the name Emio on YouTube. This is... Somebody sussed out that this was like Bloober's game for the Switch.
Published by Nintendo?
Yeah.
I have a fucking doubt about that.
I don't know, man. I can't anymore with Bloober. I'm sorry. Like, they get a chance with like every company to make like a first party game, and like every time it's not great.
Yeah, they don't have the best sorry, I'm reading at the same time as I'm talking. That's a terrible idea. They don't have the best track record for how they handle serious situations, so I can't wait to see how they deal with Silent Hill 2.
This sentence might mean something if I watched or paid attention to League of Legends, but apparently Braum is joining 2XKO's roster, which is the shittiest name for a fighting game ever.
Oh, that's a game? I assumed that was like a person.
Braum is the character, 2XKO is the game.
Okay.
2XKO is the League of Legends 2D fighting game. It's coming out.
For some reason in my head, I thought you were talking about a streamer that was
Curtains for Zusha.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly where my head went.
Vampire Survivors is coming to Apple Arcade on August 1st. That's a smart move.
I mean, it's already on iPhone for free.
Yeah, I know. But Apple TV, it's on the TV.
Oh, Apple TV. Sorry.
Is that what I said?
You said Apple Arcade, I thought.
Oh, Apple Arcade. It is on there, but I guess maybe you get all the DLC for free.
Oh, maybe, yeah.
Sorry,
isn't there ads in the original version, even though they're not like terrible?
I don't know. I never played it on my phone. So.
They're very, very non-intrusive.
El Paso Elsewhere is coming to PS5 this fall. Oh, what else we got here? There's like another Bleach game announced, Bleach Rebirth of Souls. It's coming to everything. There's a free-to-play Bleach game that launched like 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
Greedfall 2: The Dying World launches September 24th. Arrow the Acrobat is coming to modern platforms on August 2nd.
Oh, finally.
Dude, that game's good.
Yeah,
The game is fine, but who's been scrambling for that?
Dude,
I
nobody's
like Arrow the
scrambling for
Acrobat.
Arrow the Acrobat.
But like, okay, so he's coming back. Is he bringing Zero?
I think it's just the 2 games, I think. Like at this point, like it's just a licensing thing, right? Like you can just put shit everywhere.
Yes, pretty much.
Yeah.
And you know I'm gonna joke about the Eternal Champions thing, but like there was something that I didn't realize until a few weeks ago. Like the guy that was like championing that series and like developed both games, like I didn't know he died. Like he died like last year, I think. So that sucks.
I mean, yeah, it's always shitty when you find out that someone who made something you love died like years ago, and then you're like, why didn't I hear about this?
Yeah, like nobody talked about it, and I mean I understand that game is forgotten by 99% of people, but still that sucks. Like that's not the only thing he worked on. Like he worked on a bunch of stuff at Sega, so it's just weird.
Yeah.
We joked about this earlier. TMNT Mutants Unleashed is coming October 18th to everything. What's that one? I don't know.
I don't know. Who knows?
Planet Coaster coming this fall to next gen and PC. Double Dragon is getting a new game called Double Dragon Revive coming to everything in 2025. I didn't like the way that game looked.
Is that the 3D one?
Yeah, that's the one Arxis is making, I think.
It looked like I think I said it looked like a Simple 2000 series game.
Yeah, like those old PS2 Simple 2000 games. Yeah. Like I don't know, man. I don't think it looks good. Like Double Dragon is one of those games that like everybody knows, but like a lot of the entries are bad, which is crazy. There's a new Karate Kid game, the Karate Kid Street Rumble, coming September 20th for everything. City Skylines 2 console version has been delayed to an unspecified date.
The new Double Dragon game reminds me of the 3D Golden Axe.
Oh yeah.
On PS2.
Wait, the 3D Golden Axe on PS2?
Yes.
Are you talking about the simple one?
Yeah, the one that's from Sega Ages. It was in the Sega Arcade Classics collection,
I
think, over here.
God. Oh.
Yeah,
it was bad.
Awful.
Yeah, that's what it reminds me of. Or there was a couple of the same sort of thing happening early on the I say early, but on the Xbox 360 arcade. Like, here's a 3D Russian attack. Which isn't a terrible game, but it's just one of those, like, it looks kind of gross.
Dude, I loved Russian Attack as a kid. Like, that music is still embedded in my brain.
Also enjoyed Russian Attack.
Yeah. I think, is the 3D one you're thinking of, is that the one that was on Xbox Live Arcade?
Yeah, I think it's just called Russian Attack.
No, it's called Russian Attack Expatriate.
Okay, yeah, that's the one I'm thinking of.
Yeah, that game is...
It's okay.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things where it's like visually, it's like this is indistinct and just fine.
God, I loved Russian Attack as a kid. I played the shit out of it.
Russian Attack also makes an appearance on Scenario by A Tribe Called Quest.
Oh man, Konami's NES games were so fucking good.
By the way, I know this is totally irrelevant because we've moved past Arrow the Acrobat, but I just found out that the Japanese Game Boy Advance version had very different artwork on the cover. And I think I'd prefer to the game if it looked more like that.
Holy shit, that is definitely a different Arrow the Acrobat.
Like, I feel like that looks more modernized than we've kind of done their best to rip off the Americanized version of Sonic the Hedgehog.
It is a Sunsoft game, so you know it's got good music.
I mean, if you really want like the best version of those circus tunes, Zero the Acrobat nails it.
Cloud Chamber is currently, quote, recruiting like mad, which could indicate that development on the next Bioshock entry is ramping up. Man, how long ago was that Bioshock thing announced?
The tease, yeah, I don't know.
Fucking...
I'm gonna be honest. Do you really want to go back to Bioshock?
I mean, what's that other game, Judas? It's gonna be similar, right?
Yeah. I don't know. I just feel like okay, like it's they're of their time unless they're gonna play more like Prey. I don't know. I just don't think I could play another Bioshock game.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe if I get into it, like I'll feel differently, but like I'm not clamoring at the bit for more Bioshock. Like I feel like I got what I needed out of that trilogy. Apex Legends Battle Pass is getting an overhaul, and fans are not happy about it. There will now be 2 Battle Passes each season, and you can only purchase them with real money. You will no longer be able to purchase the next Battle Pass with Apex coins.
Bad move.
Yep.
Weird.
That's not the route, boys. Especially if you're gonna have 2 Battle Passes. What the fuck? What else we got here? RGG teased the next Like a Dragon game at Essence of Fandom at the Anime Expo. We can't tell you what kind of game it is, but I will tell you, you'll be surprised.
Okay, so I saw video footage of that expo. It looked fun as hell. People were dancing. Everybody's, a lot of people are doing like cosplay or dressed in suits or whatever, and they're dancing on the like disco floor from Zero, and they were playing the tracks from Zero as people were dancing. I was like, that's pretty good. It looked like a good fun time. I'm a little jealous.
Summer Games Done Quick has now raised over $2.5 million. That's pretty cool. Rumor Square Enix and Tencent are working on a mobile version of Final Fantasy XIV. That could be trouble. Riot Games was working on a second fighting game in the vein of Super Smash Bros. Set in the League of Legends universe. Riot canceled work on the prototype, codenamed Pool Party, in late May. Approximately 70 to 80 devs were working on it. Man.
Do you think it was horny?
It's League of Legends, of course it was.
Well, I was just thinking more of the code name.
Pool Party. Takashi Iizuka, head of Sonic Team, wants to work on a Sonic RPG before he retires from Sega.
Terrence sent that to me. And I was like, Terrence, they already made a Sonic RPG. And he's like, what? And I'm like, yeah, BioWare made it.
For the Game Boy.
DS.
Sorry, DS. Yes.
And I don't think that story ever got finished, because I think that was right as the Archie stuff was blowing up. Ken Penders, I think, sued because the villain in that game was an echidna that looked a little bit like an echidna you wrote, but I mean, all the echidnas look like each other because of the fucking style guide, for fuck's sakes.
I need copyright an echidna, for Christ's sake. Pocket Pair, Aniplex, and Sony Music Group have established Pow World Entertainment to expand and develop new business associated with Pow World. People found that weird because it's Sony's company, but that game's not even on PlayStation.
Yeah, it is a little weird.
So, seasonal characters will not be a part of the Division 2 2.0 after negative fan feedback. Okay. Well, I think we talked about this last week, but according to multiple reports, Embracer closed German studio Piranha Bytes last month. I think we talked about that last week.
Oh, no, I don't think we did.
Yeah, so Eurojank is losing one of its goats.
Weren't they remaking Gothic 2 as well? So, like, I don't know. It's all fucking new.
Like we needed another Gothic remake, because, who cares?
I think the big mistake, and I'm not trying to, like, be Captain Hindsight, but Elex did not need a sequel.
No, it didn't.
Yeah.
It did not.
But it did not need a sequel.
No, it really did not need a sequel. Like, that game had good ideas, but the difficulty curve was absolute garbage. And, like, it didn't set the world on fire, released at a discount price. How do you must have blackmail to be able to get that a sequel greenlit. I just don't get it.
Yeah, I don't understand how a lot of those studios keep getting those. I really don't know. Like, there's so many sequels to games that don't deserve sequels, and there's so many games that don't get a sequel that totally deserve one. It's crazy. I don't know.
It is crazy.
That's all I got, though. That's all the news. I don't have any tweets. I don't have any emails. People just don't like us. And that's fine.
That's probably true.
I don't blame them.
I don't either. Although, for those of you that do like us, I've almost got all the podcasts back in an RSS feed. I forgot how much work it was moving shit. Because we just switched servers, which the site's much faster now. And I'm really happy with where our system is currently. But having to having to reload every single podcast back into the system has been a giant pain in the ass. I think there's like 700 episodes on the feed right now, and then I got to do Phoenix Down, which at least with Phoenix Down they're not adding any new ones, so it's not like it's going to grow right now. So I can just catch up on those. But yeah, that's all I got. So if you want to tweet at us, that'd be cool. We could have read those right now, but you could tweet us at ZTGD Radio. You could also send us an email to podcast@ztgd.com. What else? Oh yeah, get your chair from eWin Racing. Use your code ZTGD. Get your 20% off if you're in the market for a new computer chair. Whatever happened to your podcast, Anthony?
I'm working on things. That's all I have to say right now.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you this, and it's not something I want to do because it becomes a pain in the ass. But we're the place where the podcasts are host now. We can do a custom cover for every episode now, so it's like an album cover.
Perfect.
So we need to get an awesome rap pose, so we can.
No, we really don't.
Why not?
A severe lack of melanin. That's why.
Correct.
Oh shit. Anyway, that's all I got. So unless anybody has anything else, we'll cut this one a little shorter than normal. Peace, bitch.
Alrighty. And it goes something like this.